think our saviors have finally arrived.
Chloe, are you here for the responder training? Absolutely. Even in the face of an atomic holocaust, the responders only thought about helping other people. They saved a lot of lives, and even when everything looked hopeless, they didn't stop trying to do what was right. It's a real tragedy that they are all gone now. People like us will never have the chance to thank them for everything they did. Wait a minute. Are you one of those people who was in Vault 76? Are you here for the responder training? Absolutely. Wait a minute. I keep hearing about it. I've even met some people who say they came from there. And honestly, I believe them. It's so interesting. People living underground for years, and then the doors open, and suddenly there's this whole new world to explore. So, did I guess right? Oh, never mind then. Maybe I'm not as good a judge of people as I thought. Of course. I know how hard it can be out there. I just made up some stim packs. Here, you can have these. Give yourself an injection when you're hurt, and they'll heal you right up. Me? There's not much to tell, really. I came in with Paige and the rest, and stayed up at Foundation for a while. It was nice. But eventually I wanted to go my own way, you know? Get out and see some places I've never seen, figure out who I am. When I heard the message on the radio about Flatwoods, I was curious to meet the responders, so I made my way here. I decided to stay here and see what else I could learn. That's pretty much my story. He's the closest Foundation has to a leader, I guess. I never got to know him real well, but he always seemed like a decent guy. Honest, reliable, cares about the people, that kind of stuff. It's up in the Savage Divide, which is what they call the mountains to the east. There are maybe a dozen settlers up there, though people always come and go, so it changes. Honestly, life is pretty good there. It's a community and everybody does their part to help. Okay, what is it? Yeah, there's a couple of places around here that qualify as interesting. At least to me. The Agricultural Research Center is infested with feral ghouls and homicidal robots. But you can find some good scrap in there if you're up to it. The New River Gorge Resort to the east is the same story. Maybe, minus the robots. I found it in one of the houses. It fits great, and it's really comfortable and pretty durable, too. I'd also be lying if I said it didn't have some sentimental value for me. I've admired the responders ever since I first heard about them. What they stood for, helping people no matter what. That was really important. No problem.
back, dear listeners. It's time once again to put aside all you think you know, all you believe to be true. Time to open your mind to the strange, bizarre, and sometimes terrifying world that exists in the shadows and fringes of our own, where myth, legend, and rumor are made real. Yes, it's time for more thrilling tales from the West Virginia hills. Tonight's episode, Who Goes There? A Strange Encounter in Flatwoods, is brought to you by Sugar Bombs, the breakfast cereal with explosive great taste and 100% of the recommended daily allowance of sugar. Get your morning started right with Sugar Bombs. Our tale begins on a fateful night when a young pioneer scout, Fred Fisher, finds himself in quite the predicament, having taken a spill and fallen into a dark place.
Where am I? Jack? Dip? Mr. Bailey? Can anybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Who's there? I can't see you.
Me. My name's Sally. What's yours?
Fred.
Are you okay, Fred?
I think so. My head's a little woozy. Must have hit it when I fell.
Oh no. Did you get lost too?
Well, sort of. What I mean is that I was camping with my scout troop by the lake near Flatwoods. There were these lights kind of dancing in the sky.
Neat.
I guess. Anyway, we heard some weird noises and the guys double dog dared me to go look. So I did.
All by yourself? You're really brave.
Shucks. Thanks. I followed the noises to an entrance of an old mine. It smelled awful there. Like rotten eggs, but worse. Suddenly,
DASA has asked us all to document our stories for posterity, you know. Seems like a fine idea. So, hi, I am Kesha McDermott. When the bombs fell, I was in Watoga, coordinating a statewide science fair for that year's high school kids. was the future of energy. After the bombs, everything was pretty chaotic. Scavenging for food and fighting off rabid survivors. Oh, it was just a bad time all around. I found a couple of surviving kids from the high school whose parents didn't make it. And we holed up in a house in town for a while. After a bit, I was able to solder the circuitry in an old radio, and we tuned into a broadcast from the responders. Oh, we were overjoyed. The trip from Watoga to Flatwoods, it was rough, mind you. The kids and I ran into a group of assholes in the mountains who stole our food and water. I can't tell you how happy I was to find the responders in Flatwoods. Tents for everyone, open kitchens, medical supplies, protection. We were safe. They had a problem, though. Their water sources were contaminated heavily. People were boiling water, but not long enough to make it safe. So, I stepped up and I said, I'll build a testing kit to monitor the contamination, and I will teach folks how to properly boil water. And I...
Overseer's Law, town of Flatwoods. My God. There's no one here. The old tavern, the church. People were using them for shelter, but... gone. Mutations we expected. There's something else. A disease. I was attacked by... Well, it used to be a person. But it had these green, glowing lesions, and its voice...
Equipment contaminated.
Tortured.
Assistance
We are
required.
On what? Whatever happened here is beyond anything we expected. And we expected a lot. Before they were wiped out, the survivors called themselves the Responders. Looks like they were made of firefighters, police, emergency medical staff. They even have an automated system to teach people about treating water, food, survival. I'm doing their tests, and you should too. I know it's even worse than we imagined, but someone's got to know where the missile silos are and how to secure them. The responders are the best lead we have. This is the Overseer, signing off.
Equipment contaminated. Assistance required. 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 Equipment contaminated. Assistance required.